Good morning. This is Monday, May 4th. This is your Math Fundamental video 14.6. Today we're going to be learning about time zones. So I'm familiar with time zones. If you've always lived in Montana here in Livingston, then you have always lived in the same time zone. But when I moved from Texas, I had to change time zones. And every time I go back there to visit, it throws me off because they have a different time zone than I have. So if you look at that, you'll actually see those time zones there on page 419. So there are 24 time zones in the world, okay, and they move in 1 hour increments. And if you think about that, there's 24 hours in a day, so the Earth takes 24 hours to to rotate, okay, or so what they did is they break them up so that at 3 o'clock, every time it's 3 o'clock p.m., no matter where you're at in the world, the sun should be kind of in the same place in the sky. At 12 noon, you expect the sun to be straight up. Well, at 12 noon for us, if you're across the world, it may be 12 midnight. Okay, so it's important that we have different time zones. And I remember that all of a sudden it just hit me so hard when I was a teenager that China was celebrating the New Year way before we were, that everyone in the world didn't celebrate New Year's Eve at midnight or New Year's Day at the same time. So that's time zones. Things are happening at different times. So if you'll look at your map, you'll see where Dallas is, that's close to where I was, is in a different time zone if you find Montana on the map. Okay, so if right now it's 10 o'clock in the morning in Montana, it's already 11 o'clock in Texas. They eat lunch before us, they eat dinner before us, those sorts of things. So it's really important that some are 1 hour earlier and some, as you travel east, you go 1 hour later. That's why if you watch Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, any of the news stations, they will give their 5 o'clock news, but it's actually 3 o'clock here when they're doing their 5 o'clock news. So it's really interesting how that works. Okay. So if you look down, it says you can use this map to find it in any place in the continental United States. If it is 11 a.m. Central Time, so if you want to look, you can find Central Time written above the clock that's in that Texas section. If it's 11 a.m. Central Time in Chicago, what time is it in each of the following cities? So if it's 11 o'clock in Chicago, then what time is it in Boston? I hope you said 12 o'clock. Okay. What time would it be in Denver? Well, if it's 11 o'clock in Chicago, it would be 10 o'clock in Denver. And then what time would it be in Seattle? It would be 9 o'clock. Okay? So I hope you can see how those move and change. So use this map, use that chart that it's given you of the time zone to answer your questions today. Marco Polo me if you need help. And let's do numbers 1 through 23.